Mr. Accomando?
Present.
Mrs. Borelli? Present. Mr. Cipollone?
Present.
Mrs. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Mrs. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mr. Winnie?
Here.
Mrs. Ottarelli?
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. So first, the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Is this working? I guess we're good. As we move ahead now at the beginning of our meeting, I would like to acknowledge one of our teachers in district. The board is having a award ceremony, end of year ceremony on Wednesday, but we have one staff member who has some other plans, so certainly don't want to go and neglect anyone, and we want to make sure that things are taken care of here. So I have Ms. Jenkins, who will speak a little bit about the teacher, and then we will present from there.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to speak to you about the Long Memorial Teacher of the Year, Ms. Stephanie Grant. Many of you know Ms. Grant, not just as a teacher, but some of you have been community members for a very long time, so you know her as the daughter of one of our longstanding teachers, Mr. Jimmy Grant, who retired not so long ago. Right? Not that long ago. We don't always feel like that Mr. Grant has left our community because he left a lasting impact, and I think one of the greatest things that we do in our schools is leave legacy, and in many ways Stephanie has been that legacy to Long Memorial from her dad. I'm gonna get choked up because that's what I do. Stephanie's here tonight with her boyfriend John and his family, sitting in the front row, the Rowe family, and John is graduating from his medical specialty program this week. They're here from California. So it's really a special night because we have two families that are coming together here in Saddlebrook, and it's such a special occasion, not just for Steph this week, but also for John. One of the things that you know, if you work at Long Memorial, you'll know that Stephanie's very, very dedicated, not just to her students into the classroom, but in student council. She helps run our student activity for the 6th grade overnight. You know, someone I know a very long time ago once said about somebody I know who's very dedicated to a community, the example that was provided was that, like, if there was a Tiddlywinks tournament in Saddlebrook and Steph Grant had a student involved, she would be there, even if she had to drive full 20 miles to be there, because that's the kind of dedication that she has. And those of us at school will know that wrapping up a school year is always very sentimental to her. So when I think about the relationship that Stephanie has with her kids, I think of the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. She has this really special routine at the end of every school year where she sits with her students and really gives them a sweet one-to-one talk. And when I first became principal, I was like emotionally overwhelmed when I saw the sentiment that is expressed between Stephanie and her kids and the parents of the students that are in her classroom. And as many of you know, she's going to be embarking on a new journey next year. She's taking a leave of absence, and I think that that book has been something that has been in my mind. And we have a tradition at our school where we dedicate a book to a teacher and donate it to our library. So we're going to be donating new copies of that book to our library in honor of the journey that Stephanie places her kids on, and in recognition of the journey that these two families are about to take together. So without further ado, I would like to congratulate Stephanie Grant as our Teacher of the Year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats, Stephanie. Just want to say I had the pleasure of having participated in the luncheon that took place 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And again, I also had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Grant, who I did not meet before. who seems to be very popular in Saddlebrook, and that's a good thing. And I know that you were very helpful in trying to get your daughter all her goods together to move to Texas and move on. So, Stephanie, it's very nice that your boyfriend's family came all the way from California just to see you get this award. That's very impressive. But on behalf of the entire Board of Education and myself, congratulations. Everybody will miss you next year, but we look forward for the day when you come back here the following year, hopefully. That all works out, and congratulations to you, sir. Doctor. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, thanks again. Nope.
Very happy that I get to work in Southwark every day, so I'm very pleased to be here and thank you so much for all the efforts. I really appreciate it. And I'll just tell them this very much next year, so today is my return.
There you go. Great. Thank you. Just while we have everybody here, I'd just like to go through, I'm going to share some other things on Wednesday. Tonight I'd like to share the final scores from CUSAC. Remember, we had our people come in from the state back in February. They said that we would get our results in May 30th, 2018. Here it is. So, instruction and program, 86%. Keep in mind that you have to have at least 80%. Fiscal management, 98%. Governance, 100%. Operations, 95%. Personnel, 100%. We're in very good shape. We've made tremendous growth from the prior visit 3 years ago, and I'm happy to share these scores with everyone. In fact, we probably will post them online. So congratulations to everyone in Saddlebrook, teachers, aides, administrators, Board of Education, everybody that's involved in the process for helping us get to this place, and it's an honor for me to be here to see this go through. So thanks again. All righty.
Okay, so the agenda, so first the committee report from Mr. Steve Quinn on education. Oh, you have it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the committee met earlier this evening to review the agenda items. The committee recommends all of them. Item number 26 will be moved for Wednesday evening.
That was actually the policy.
That was budget. It jumped up. Okay, Steve, go ahead.
We're going back to education.
Alrighty then.
Hey.
Education Committee, we discussed issues with scheduling and world languages that we need to, according to new CUSAC standards, that we will have to be in compliance with in 3 years. We need some rescheduling. So we discussed changing elementary schedules in order to get more world language time in. Adding another computer media specialist to the schools in order to also be able to handle the amount of computer work that is necessary moving forward for the students in elementary schools and the amount of time they need. The elementary media specialists will still be split between all of the schools, but this will give them somebody most of the time. It adds a lot of computer and time for all of the students. Brenda and Jaylene are creating an action plan for September and a timeline for the next 2 years that will incorporate all of the new curriculum changes that we need to have in 3 years into the schedule. We have teachers and administrators going to Project Read at New Milford. Several people are going to see what they are doing, and they're supplying question and answer time for integrating phonics into our English language. This is not something that's going to be new standalone. This will be integrated into our Readers Workshop that we have already been using for several years here. Tony, as he's going out, one of the suggestions he's made for us is that we need to have more teachers observing other teachers. in modeling what they're doing in the classroom within the district and without the district. It's going to be critical for teachers improving their educational process. We have had several new special ed students move in over the course of the year. It's created a lot more expenses onto the district. We are currently, or Ray is currently finding the money to handle all of the additional expenses that we have from that. This is one of those strange years where we have a lot of people moving in and very few people moving out of the district. So I guess as the education gets better here, more and more people are moving in and less people are moving out on us. That's my report. The committee approves all the items under education for the agenda.
Is there any discussion or questions?
Just on your education.
Yeah. Which number? Okay. You good? All right. So now we'll go to budget and finance, and now, yeah, Christian, you already did it already, so we're good? Okay, good. Any discussion on that? Yeah, you need to have time to look at it.
For the chair, 13 and 14 are to approve the transportation contract for students. It basically says the exact same thing except different ID numbers. Why is there a $200 difference?
Budget and finance, is that what
It was just negotiated amounts for the school they attend. There's no set amounts.
Anything else?
So removing 26.
Okay, go ahead.
And 27, anybody have any questions before 27? No? 27, I just got word from the township that originally the application was going to be just for Smith School to do some sidewalk improvements for safe routes to school. They are now adding all school buildings, so we got to do a little more data collection, but we're revising the resolution. We'll say all 5 schools now for Wednesday evening. So I'll have that to the board tomorrow.
That's for everyone? Good.
Good? So, probably you're up.
Policy committee met last week. We went over these 12 policies. There's really nothing new from us. It's all Strauss SMA mandated. Most of it's revised. And that's pretty much it. It's all on approval by the board.
Any questions or discussion? Anything? Okay, so I think these would then move to our August meeting to go on the agenda for the second reading. And copies of these are down there, here, on the table. Okay. We're good? Go ahead, next one.
Okay, negotiations. We will be doing a doctrine of necessity, which I'm sure you've heard before, so we can all vote to ratify and approve the contract for the custodian, which honestly I'm happy to say we settled in one night. Hope it's that easy. And we also were working on dates, future dates with the SBEA. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Personnel.
Your turn.
We discussed the interview process of candidates for a variety of different positions. We spoke about new employees being hired, old employees not returning, and current employees earning extra compensation for participating in extracurricular activities. It's very hard to be specific when talking about personnel, by the way. We reviewed the agenda items, and the committee recommends them for approval.
There's a lot of information in this section, so take your time, and if you have any questions.
Through the chair, on number 5, do we have a name for that position? Or?
I will have it on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these items we'll be discussing more in closed session.
Close second.
Oh, okay.
Through the chair.
Yeah, number 4, I'd like to, I'm sorry. Number 4, Dr. Reisner is the candidate of choice for the Director of Special Services. We had quite a few register or apply for the position. However, when it came down to it, we did have about 3 finalists for the position, and we felt unanimously that Dr. Reisner was the person based on her presentation. I can tell you that it was a 3-round interview. All the candidates that we wanted to interview, I think we brought in about somewhere between 8 and 10. We sat down with, I also invited Ms. Shanley, our incoming superintendent, to be part of the group, a couple of administrators and board members, and we then weeded it down to less, to maybe 6. Went to a second round, again with board members, staff members, from having various capacities within the system. They moved people on up to the 3rd round. At the 3rd round, we had them prepare a 10 to 12-minute PowerPoint presentation based on how they would present to the staff given a specific subject in professional development. We did the interview process, and after the interview process, each one of those candidates was given a writing prompt for 3 different subjects. They had to select one and then email right after that, email the final document to me, which was reviewed by myself and Ms. Shanley. So, and this is where we came to the decision that Dr. Reisner would be the right candidate. So she spent a number of years in Palisades Park, Englewood, and lastly in West Orange, Maplewood. So that's where we are.
It's pretty impressive.
Angela being a special ed person, and yes, really wanted the interview to keep going, and I had to tell her that, you know, an hour and a half is long enough. I think we got the gist of where we need to be, so. All right. So we're happy to see that, yeah. Looking at the rest, any questions?
Through the chair, 13 and 14. Everybody knows this is my pet peeve, okay? And I'm going to bring it up every single time, and I'm going to say right now, I'm voting no, okay? I don't understand my trips like this. I'm sure next year's dates are already in place. We have to approve after the fact. It should be done prior to going. If for whatever reason the board chose not to, we didn't want something, we have no choice here, so what do you have to do? I'm voting no for that reason.
Thank you. Any other?
Through the chair, right, we're going to discuss items in closed.
Yes.
What was the sign for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll send you, usually get that prior to the meeting.
All right. So is there any other discussion on the agenda? From anybody? Okay. So, are there any other committee reports? Any correspondence? Any old business from any members? No? New business from any members?
You know what, I would just like to, I wanted to get into this earlier, but I wanted to thank those teachers that were responsible for taking our 6th grade students on their overnight trip last Thursday into Friday. Stephanie Grant was there. I know Sue Laurentino was there. Mr. Martinez, and I know I'm leaving off one, I think. Thank you. Excellent job. Our students traveled. They got there safely. They came back safely. Everybody seems to be happy. So therefore, in my eyes, it's a successful trip. Everything went well. Also, talking about 6th graders, we're sitting here tonight. The reason why is because there is a parent orientation for 6th grade parents that's taking place in the auditorium. And my understanding is that once they complete the little few speeches and things in the auditorium, they will go upstairs and go into the classrooms where they'll meet some of the teachers and get familiar with the building. So we're happy about that as well. So,
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I was on the 6th grade overnight trip, and all the chaperones and teachers were phenomenal. They did a great job. The kids were into everything. It was great. They did a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Acmondo. All right, so, you know, this is the kinds of things we like to see happen. Everything went smoothly, and certainly it was a success, as I said before. As you know, we're wrapping things up for the year now. Next week is graduation, so a very fast year, but pleased if you're involved in any of the activities. We have kindergarten graduation coming up on Monday next week, the 18th, as well as the 6th grade graduations. The 19th will be the 8th grade moving up ceremony, and the high school graduation will be on Wednesday, the 20th. So, and there is the school year for the students anyway. Administrators will still be here, and some of the teachers will still be here doing some other work. So we look forward to seeing everybody there as well, and I think that's about it for me right now. Okay?
Just one thing before I forget. The 6th grade moving up ceremony are all the same day at the same time. I would really like to have at least one board member at each one. So if you could let me know by Wednesday if you could go to any of them next week.
I'll be at Smith. My kid's moving up.
Monday evening at, I think at 6, I have to double.
6:30, I think.
6:30? Yeah.
So, so we'll just need someone for long. You can let me know Wednesday. I mean, I'll try to go too, but I just want to make sure at least one of us is there.
Yeah, I think last year I did manage to hop from each one of the schools quickly. So I'll try to do that again this year, and hopefully I don't get caught in any traffic or the train going across the tracks and everything else that goes on in town. So I look forward to that.
We used to stagger the times. They used to be 6, 6:30, and 7 to give us all the time, and we'd go as a group to each school. You guys remember that, right? Yes, so.
Maybe they don't want you as a group anymore. I don't know.
Maybe they don't. We can't be in 3 places at one time. So where was it set? So you just let me know. I know. Just email me. Even if you just told me, just tell me and
I'll be able to make Monday long tomorrow.
All right.
Gino, Sylvia,
Mike, is that
Mike,
Smith?
and Kelly. So I'll probably go to.
All right.
Okay. Anything
Through
else?
the chair, I just want to say, my statement has absolutely nothing to do with the chaperones. You guys are phenomenal, and you deserve everything you get. My issue is voting for something after it already happens. I just want to clarify that.
Okay, so can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? I need to read my long statement, or if anybody comes up. Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Okay, so if you'd like to speak, please come up to the podium, state your name and address.
Don't roll your eyes. Amy Higgins, 228 Saddle River Road. I just wanted to thank you for all your service to the school.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. And also, I'm a member of the Saddlebrook VFW Auxiliary, and next year, we're hoping to meet with the new superintendent over the summer. The VFW would really like to get the school more involved and get involved more in the school with education, like flag education, and maybe bringing some of our vets in. I know that they've had other programs where they brought in other people, but we would like to try to do something with the VFW and the schools to try to make the children more aware of what they have done. So I just wanted to announce that to you guys. Like I said, I don't know how any of you feel about it, but we just think that with all the negativity that's been out there, that maybe they can, and I'm in charge of that, so so you'll be seeing more of me for that, but I just wanted to make that known to you guys.
Yeah. Typically what would be great is, you know, everybody looks at Veterans Day, and it's wonderful, but usually vets have so many things they have to attend. So my suggestion would be maybe to perhaps have something the week before or the week after, but certainly we'd like to have them in the building.
Yes, definitely.
I know I'm going out, but I'm sure the sentiment will be shared with Ms. Shanley as well and the Board of Education, that they do have a lot to share with students, and I think it's important for the kids to hear that.
Yes.
So we look forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tricia Cinerella, Graham Terrace. I need to talk about the Hershey trip for the Music Association. It was last Friday to Saturday, I believe. They did great. They got first place. Like, everyone did amazing. But the transportation was not safe. The bus going down there was a problem with the radiator. And I didn't personally chaperone, but I'm getting texts from my daughter and the kids saying, what's going on, the bus is pulled over. So I was told when when they got down there was a problem with the radiator, they were going to either fix it or get 2 other buses to get the kids home. Neither was done. Coming home, the trip with the kids was a nightmare. Again, I wasn't personally there, but from everything I heard was a nightmare. The bus pulled over many times, many times. I was told that he needed to pull over in a gas station at one point. One of the, the things that they did is they put bags of ice in the middle of the aisle to cool down the bus. At one point, he had to pull over to put fluid, I guess, in the radiator. Whatever, I'm not a car person. But there was, all of the kids said that there was a very bad smell. They couldn't kind of put it into words, but they all figured that it was like old burnt toast is what they said, because we're trying to figure out what is this fume. My daughter did tell me, Samantha, she's a freshman, that the heat, that some of the seats were starting to get warm. So these things were going on. My husband was about 20 minutes behind them because when this was first announced that this was going to happen, my husband jumped on it right away and said, I'll chaperone, because not a lot of males chaperone. So that was shot down. I don't know why, but I'm really upset that nothing was done. Like, why didn't the teachers say, okay, this is not a safe situation, we're gonna wait, you can get another bus to come here so the kids don't have to inhale these fumes, think the bus is gonna go on fire, It's ridiculous. I have all of my daughter's friends texting me, get me off the bus, because they knew my husband was behind them. And my husband was trying to catch up, and all these kids are texting me, help me, get me off. And these kids had just gone to Hershey. They went to Chocolate World. It was all melting because the bus was that bad, you know? And we don't even know what was under the suitcases that were underneath. But I'm really disgusted because, you know what, that's a health issue. And then Samantha was starting to get a headache. And I contacted someone I knew that helped set up the trip. She was in another car, and I've known her personally. And she said the bus is fine, you know, and I told her that, you know, she had a really bad headache, and she asked if, you know, she was nauseous. No, she wasn't. But then at one point, I'm talking to Samantha on the phone, and kids are saying, my body hurts, my body hurts. Who knows if it's from going on rides and things like that, but I'm really disgusted because it's a 3.5 trip home, 3.5 hours. I'm really disgusted that my daughter and her friends were put in this type of unhealthy situation, and why didn't they do anything to stop it? They knew, and they knew going down there that there was a problem with the radiator. Why are you gonna put my kid on a bus that you know there's a problem with? And the bus is like, okay, well, we'll make it home. At one point, I was told the bus was driving in the shoulder. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I can honestly say I was not aware of that, and I've met with the teachers afterwards and saw a couple of students, and nothing was mentioned, so
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that information. Ms. Durante, was there any communication as far as that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, typically if we know that, you know, if there's going to be a problem with the bus and the kids are going to be there all day, we have enough time to send another vehicle down there.
Yeah, no,
So,
something
yeah,
definitely was missed or whatever, but
thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry for the inconvenience.
no problem. And then when we got back, a bunch of parents were at the school, were like, oh my God, there's kids on the bus with asthma, they're breathing us in, like what was going on? But then, you know, so we got off, and, you know, they got off, and, you know, so we're like, you know, who's this bus driver, who's this company? And someone yelled to me, don't worry, we're going to take care of it, we're going to take care of it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
sorry,
That's
but
okay, thank you for sharing.
These weren't our school buses, these were coach buses.
Were they?
Parent Association.
Yes, the Parent Association hired the buses. Still, should be, have to check that out. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, anybody else who would speak in the public? Okay, I make a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Motion. Second.
Aye. All in favor? Now I need a motion to go into closed session. All in favor? To recess to close executive session, to discuss personnel, HIB investigations, contract negotiations, and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege per the Open Public Meeting Act. The subject matter discussed may be disclosed to the public if and when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken when the board reconvenes in open session. So thank you everyone for coming. Wednesday's our meeting. We're going to be in the back of the
6:30.
auditorium.
Yeah, well,
6:30.
6:30 we will start the award ceremony, the end of the award ceremony, and then we will go on with the regular meeting at 7. Okay, and we have a presentation, a preschool program right before the awards. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to stay here for close, so thank you.